What's up everybody, Coach Mills here, and in Valorant, there are a lot of different ways to get kills. You could use your abilities to get some cheeky kills here and there, you can out-mechanic people and simply kill them with gunplay, or you can incorporate some ways to get kills that require, frankly, no skill at all. You see, the term think smarter not harder applies to all of us, and not every kill needs to be an out aim. Now, in this video, I'm going to be breaking down tons of ways to get free kills and value without outplaying an enemy mechanically, and even pros use all of these, so you know they're going to get you some free value. But before we get started, speaking of value, you will find no better value than the GameLeap.com website, where we have in-depth advanced VOD reviews, tips and tricks, anything you need in order to climb. If you want to rank up and climb one rank to the next, then you definitely need to go check it out in the links down below, and I can't wait to see you there. Now, kicking it off with the first thing that you need to do to get free kills and value, no skill required, and it's controlling inside of a smoke. You see, when you're controlling an area, you're controlling a space and trying to deny enemies from pushing in, of course, they will often smoke off that sight line so that you can't see them while they push in. It secures their entry, and there's nothing that you can do to see them because it's blocking LOS, right? But what smokes don't do is they don't block you physically taking the space. In fact, they give you some form of taking space as well. What I mean by that is if you go inside of a smoke and you control it, the second it's laid down, any enemy that enters it, you will have the inherent advantage. What you're gonna be wanting to do is every time an enemy smokes you out, they smoke out your LOS, you just step simply into the smoke and you control it, punish any enemy from entering inside, and then of course, if you see some sound cue or anything like that, you can set up a play where you push out of the smoke and try to kill enemies. Or if you have some type of information gatherer, someone like a Cypher, someone like a Solva, these players can set you up for a play from inside the smoke because they can gather some information about outside, and you can just kill someone because you get perfect information about them, and you're basically completely hidden because you're inside that smoke and no one can push you because you control that space. Now, the next way to get some free kills, no skill required, is Solva LMG. And I know that you have seen the tournaments with Sinatra rocking the LMG, but I promise you, in your ranked games, this style can be absolutely dominant on certain maps. Specifically, Ascent, B-side on defense, and of course Double Doors on Haven on either attack or defense. This could just get you some free kills just flat out. The Odin is proving to be actually better and better in pro play and in ranked play, of course. I wish we could see the statistics on this gun because I'm sure it's just annihilating people in ranked matches. But just remember that every time you're crouching, it's already going to be at that maximum rate of fire, so that's what you want to typically be doing. And then of course, learning where you can specifically spam to pressure people out and get free kills right when they spawn. It's just going to set up so many unfair engagements where you can turn information and a wall bang into a kill with literally the enemy being able to do nothing about it. So definitely try this in your games, definitely try to incorporate in your games. If you're a Solva, even other characters like a Brimstone, you can definitely be rocking these LMGs more and get some free value, whether it's eco or just buying the Odin and just trying to outfrag, because these guns are surprisingly lethal as well. Now, the next way to get some free value, pretty much no skill required, and that's posting angles with op. You see, all you have to do this tip is when a sightline is clear, let's say you're pushing up split mid, right? Instead of trying to get crafty, push up with your team, you're just holding the vent angle on attack with an op. That's all you're doing. And your teammates can easily go up to heaven, but of course, when your teammates are running up to heaven, it usually elicits a response. The response will come from vents. That person will try to make a play, but guess what? You're posted up on an angle. And what do you have to do to stop that person? Absolutely nothing. Are they even trying to kill you? Nope, they're not. They're trying to kill your teammates. All you're doing is punishing their swing. And shooting a body shot when the enemy is not actively swinging you, it's just the easiest thing in the world. Takes no skill at all, but can get so much value. And you can post up on all these angles. And of course, you post up one angle, then you move over to another angle, post up, then you move over to another angle, post up. You can just get kill after kill after kill, making enemies play into you. But the thing is, they're usually playing off your allies. They're doing something to punish your ally, and you protect them from that and get a free kill in the process. Now moving on to the fourth way to get, honestly, it could get you a lot of kills, and even pros have done this before. This is sneaking into Cubbies where enemies do not expect it and doing something to specifically make it so they don't check. So let me give you an example. So right off the bat, the first example I could give you is like on split mid on defense, right? That left box, when you are on defense mid, that left box can't be wall banged. So if you can somehow sneak into that box without enemies knowing, and you have something like a shorty and you're a jet player, you could easily kill someone as they come up. And it works even better when your sage walls, because your sage is gonna wall, your sage is gonna be like on top of a wall or creating some aggro. So they look at the sage, they want to swing the sage up, but you're hiding behind this box with a shorty, making no noise, doing nothing. The second an enemy swings out to kill your sage looking heaven, you kill them with the shorty, and then of course you dash up to heaven. Easy, easy kill. But there's a lot of different cubbies like this. Think of something like on bind on a defense mid, you could potentially get into that little cubby. And I know what you're saying, people always check that cubby. Well, yes and no, it depends on the situation. If you can sneak into that cubby, knife out, and your sage actually walls you into the enemy team, but you're someone like a jet or a raise or something like that, enemies are very unlikely to guess where you are. And of course, if enemies start breaking the wall because they want to make an aggressive play or bait out more utility, you will know where they are, you can make a play, and then you can use your mobility to get out. This takes pretty much no skill at all. All it takes is decision making. You're not mechanically outplaying anybody. You're not setting up a fair like gunfight. You're just shotgunning people when they don't know you're there, getting a free kill and getting out. And yes, this is kind of a Skamaz strategy, but it's gonna get you some free kills. Pros do it, high level players do it. Why wouldn't you try to incorporate some of these strategies so that every single time you get a kill, it doesn't have to be an outplay. It doesn't have to be an out mechanic. It doesn't have to be any of that. You can just get these free kills. And I know the enemy's gonna like hate you for it, but who cares? Just type sit in the chat. Anyways, moving on to the fifth tip. And I mean, I kind of touched on it already, but this is just using the judge in general or just any shotgun. So the judge is just really incredibly powerful, and it really punishes enemies for not playing perfect. If an enemy pushes in and they don't specifically check you, even if it's a group of enemies, if they don't check you immediately and they get into your effective range, they're just gonna get punished with all their lives. Judges just ramp up way too quickly. And that is why, especially on defense and sometimes even on attack, judge can be one of the best eco weapons to play, especially holding some close angle or some close sight line. The judge really can convert a lot of plays into just a ridiculous amount of kills. And like I said, you are not out aiming anybody. You're just basically punishing enemies for making a mistake. But there's a lot of weapons that, oh yeah, you could punish an enemy for making a mistake and you might get one kill and then you'll get traded out. Like they make a mistake and you kill them, but their team still act on that. Judges are one example where if an enemy pushes into your space that you're controlling and they don't check you with intent, you shotgun them, the enemy still can't pursue you. No one's gonna pursue you when you have a judge. They're just gonna die as a result. And that's why it's just such free value. And it's the same way to a smaller extent to something like shorties. That's why you see those 5-stack, you know, 5-stack shotgun things and things like that. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit more later, but just realize that there are some guns, specifically shotguns, that really reward you for enemies messing up in a way that you don't need skill. You just need to set up that reality. You need to set up that engagement, and then you can get a free kill that way. Now moving on to the next tip that we have for you, tip number 6, and this is chasing someone low with a pistol right click. Specifically, I'm talking about the classic pistol, but anytime enemies are one shot, you're in a matchup where you know that the enemy is one shot because your allies have called it, they're very low, like 140 damage or 145 or whatever the case might be. If the enemy is extremely low, then chasing with the pistol right click can be better than AR, snipers, or whatever. The classic pistol right click can be very, very powerful because it's really easy to connect with. You can use it while you're jumping and you can chase enemies. And of course, if you don't have like full ammo in your gun, you're just gonna switch to your pistol. It's gonna be really easy. And this could actually be a better choice when enemies are weak, because you gotta realize any connection will kill them. Why not use your shotgun's quote unquote alternate fire on your pistol and still have no downside in jumping and things like that? And of course, you have a full clip. It is just a great way to chase down a kill, especially when you know for a fact that the enemy is extremely, extremely low. Now, the next tip that we got for you to basically get free kills with very little skill required, and it's make enemies deal with your utility. I'm sure that you're already annoyed by now by how many nano swarms are just getting kill after kill in your games, but realistically, the more difficult you make it for enemies to clear out your utility or shut it down, the more you're gonna get free value with enemies like not ever being able to outplay you, or it is way more difficult for them to outplay you. Think about creative spots where you could do one-way smokes. Think about creative spots where you could hide your nanoswarm in a way that it wraps around the point and still affects enemies. Or you could even do things like combo abilities, like throwing a slow plus a paint shells through hookah the second enemies push up. Regardless of what you're doing, you're getting tons of value right on the table when you're not doing anything mechanically wise. All you're doing is you're learning something and applying it to your games and making it way more difficult for enemies to deal with your utility. It often leads to free kills, free value, free rounds, and of course, you might even rank up just doing this entirely. So realize that at its core, Valorant can be played in a way where you don't make gunplay the forefront if you don't want to. Of course, you still have to be good mechanically and all that stuff, but you could get so much value never actually outplaying that many people. So definitely try to incorporate that in your games. And then when your gunplay gets better, you're just gonna have like this insane, really difficult to deal with utility use. And then of course, on top of that, your gunplay as well. Now moving on to the next tip. This is a macro tactic that can get you so many different kills, especially on eco rounds. That could just be a nightmare for an enemy. And what you do is you're legitimately 3-stack holding an angle. One of you could even fire just to set up for one of them to peek, and enemies will peek you, or a enemy will peek you, and you will simply be holding that angle and destroy them with a whole bunch of fire by 3 people joint firing at 1 person. Now this does require a little bit of communication, so it's better if you're playing with like 2 of your buddies and you're in Discord or whatever, and you're trying to set this up in a ranked game where you're literally holding one angle on eco in particular, and enemies peek that angle, you kill them, you upgrade your weapon right away. Enemies are thinking, hey, I'm just gonna go check this angle, I'm gonna go grab this orb, I'm gonna take some space, create some aggro, bait out some utility, and all of a sudden they walk right into the sight line of 3 people and you'll all just kill him. Doesn't take skill, just takes setup, just takes coordination, and that's something that you can do to get some free kills. And imagine a scenario where one enemy peeks that corner, right? You kill them as 3 people, and then one of you grabs his weapon. Now you got a free kill on an eco round, and you upgraded your weapon to a much better weapon. Now it's looking like your team actually has an advantage on an eco round, all because you did this one little thing that took no skill at all. So free. Definitely try this in your games. Now move on to the next tip, and this is a way that even pro players get some really free kills, and this is purposely setting yourself up between an area where enemies are holding, and you know that for a fact, and an area where you force them to rotate to. Let me give you this example. You're playing Ascent on attack, and you creep up to mid to about pizza or a little bit closer to the enemy spawn. Now, the rest of your team actually route all the way and go to A, and they make contact with the point. And there's enemies all around that area looking to try to make a play, but you're not with your team. You're playing here because you know for a fact that there is someone on B side, and when they rotate through, are they gonna be able to check every single place between where they are and A when the spike is down, the clock is ticking? No, they won't be able to. And if enemies aren't checking your position, is it hard to kill them? No, it's not. It's just a really simple kill. You just have to listen for them to go. They're gonna be looking up the stairs. They're gonna be looking in tree. They're not gonna think about you at all. You're gonna pop out. You're gonna kill them. Doesn't matter what weapon you will have. You're gonna kill them right away. Really easy. No skill required. Free kill. And then now you have a flank on the enemy, and now enemies are really scared of where you are. It is just a really powerful strategy used in pro play, and you can use it in your games. Doesn't take any skill, only setup. Then we go to the 10th and final way that you could get some free value with realistically no skill at all is you're breaking either a wall or a closable door while the enemies are reloading. Now, what will often happen with enemies is they will see like the closable doors on Ascent or a Sage wall. They will start to break it, get it close to be broken, and then they will reload, and then they will finish it off and then go in, right? That's what they want to do, so they have a full clip when they actually engage enemies that are behind whatever thing they're breaking, these breakable surfaces, right? Well, what you can do is you really monitor how the wall is breaking, and as it gets close to breaking, you break it yourself, whether it's the Sage wall or the closable doors, and you force your way through. And oftentimes enemies are reloading because they're trying to reload, do the thing that I said before, where they reload, finish off the breakable structure and push in. But when you do this, you really flip the tables on them, and oftentimes you will catch like 2 people mid reload. It's so hilarious because you could just get some free kills on enemies that are just reloading. They're looking at you, they're like, what the hell, and they just die. So definitely try this in your games. Doesn't take skill, only takes game sense and thinking about the game. Doesn't take mechanical skill at all, and you can get some really free value. But of course, at the end of the day, the only way to become a better player is incorporating tips like these plus mechanical skill, gunplay, and anything that you can find at the GameLeap website. We have in-depth advanced tips and tricks, VOD reviews made by Radiant tier players, and everything you need in order to climb the ranks of Valorant. So do yourself a favor and go check it out in the links down below. But hope you enjoyed the video. That's all I got for you today. I'm Coach Mills, and of course, until next time,